are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. We got Thursday, January 4th, 2024.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he going to say it? Is he going to say it?
Of course.
Yes.
Guys, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us in the new year, 2024. We got a lot of football to talk still. Nothing has changed here on the show. Other than it being the last week of the NFL regular season and things starting to come to a close. So that in itself is a bit depressing. We love the NFL season here and everything that we get to do for the regular season, but the playoffs are approaching. And you know what that means?
That's exciting.
That means the quality of content increases because the quality of teams that we're talking about also increases.
Well, quality of teams and the quantity, though, decreases. So it's like we can channel energy more into the specific matchups and get a little bit more into it. You know, we don't have to predict 16 games. We got to predict 7, and then
Eight.
It's 12 teams. So 6 the first week,
and
wild card weekend 6, and then
Right.
it goes down to 4, and then 2. And then 1, the big one.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Either way, we got a good kind of lineup coming down the line here for you. This episode, we're going to have Tim's rant to start off like we normally do on the state of the NFL, some big things that have happened this week. We were trying to figure out what you were going to rant on and what to compile into
There's
this.
just so much.
But this week, I guess the news, not even news, but just happenings, things that have happened have been the increase.
The college football playoffs,
Yeah.
the Florida State getting waxed, right? We'll talk about that later. I mean,
Yeah.
in the NFL, you got teams, in, out, contending, pretending. You got Week 18 matchups that matter. It's crazy. We love it. We love it.
So we're going to start off with that rant, and then hits and misses to round out the first segment. Into the second, we'll have our Week 18 predictions, final week, and of course, the final week for Bets on a Budget as we know it right now. The
2-2-1 last week.
Yeah, so that'll be another push.
I hate. Why would they set the line right on a whole number?
It doesn't make any
That's
sense
my
to me.
least favorite
It doesn't
thing
make any
about
sense.
sports betting.
No, my least favorite thing in life in general is tying, and I hate a tie or when it's possible to tie.
I just don't understand. For an industry that's built on gambling, why would you not, if you're Vegas, just set the line
Win
at
or
a half
lose.
point higher, lower,
Win or lose.
and because then you either make more money or you lose it all. Like for an industry that's tied on winning and losing money, it seems like when they set the line on a whole number, they're just paralyzed to lose money.
Fair enough.
When in reality, it's like the casino getting mad. Like it's like, dude, you're raking it in. Like you are raking it in.
Yeah.
Are we really going to talk about money here, casino?
Fair enough. That'll be the second segment. Third segment, top 10 quarterbacks, and we will have our game of the week, Bills and Dolphins this week. And I think that was probably the most amount of time we've ever spent on the intro to a show. That just shows you how packed it is.
I don't care.
There's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of fire behind this one. So, guys, thanks for sticking around no matter how you found us. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Prime Videos where you can watch the show. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and, of course, the iHeartRadio app. Guys, this is The Issue.
Like I said, I want to talk about the state of the NFL. There's two main stories that I think need discussed. One being that officiating on Saturday night between Detroit and Dallas. We talked about this before we actually even started. Could you imagine? So think about how much, because at the end of the day, this is a business. This is a bottom line business. Because it's not bad for business if Dallas wins. That doesn't matter, right? But in this industry where that game very well could cost Detroit, if they end up winning their first round game, they'll probably now have to go on the road because they'll be a lower seed than they should have been had they won that game. So that'll cost them a home playoff game, most likely, because I think we all think Detroit's going to win a first-round game. That's not guaranteed, but Detroit will be favored in their first-round game and should win it. Now that means the second-round game, they'll have to go on the road. They shouldn't. They in general, they probably shouldn't have to had they won that game, which they should have. That's probably in terms of revenue, what's that, $10, $15 million mistake right there at minimum? Right, home playoff games are insanely profitable. Right, that's why teams are willing to pay quarterbacks $50 million a year. Because if that quarterback can get you a home playoff game, say they sign a 6-year contract, if they can get you 3 or 4 home playoff games, they pay off that contract no problem. It is worth it for that contract, right? So home playoff games are very profitable. Think about who also gets screwed. Philadelphia. Now they'll probably have to be a wild card team, barring some absolutely, awful letdown by Dallas this week. So they'll now be the 5 seed. That'll cost them a home playoff game. That's another however many $1 million mistake that's now going to cost Philadelphia. The only team that benefits, of course, is Dallas. They will now have a home playoff game more than likely. So I guess it's kind of a wash with one of those teams. That's a $20+ million mistake. That's a $20+ million mistake. Any other business, screw $20 million. Go lose $1 million for your company and see how long you have that job. I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to be very long. It's not going to be very long. Try losing $100,000, depending on what job you're in, right? And of course, if you're a stockbroker, you're wheeling and dealing, right? Of course, you lose $20 million, you're probably done. You're probably done. Your wheeling and dealing days for that company are over. You could probably lose $100,000 and be okay, depending on your stature. But my point being, if you lose a significant amount of money for a company, because think about it, the NFL works for those owners, right? So Philadelphia and Detroit are now on the league's ass about losing money because of that call. And then the commissioner works for those owners. You just cost the people that run this league a ton of money. They're upset. They're pissed. They should be pissed. That official, the head official, Brad Allen, and his crew should be fired on the spot. I don't understand how this is even a discussion. Brad Allen should be fired. Should have been fired before he walked off the damn field. It should have been Herm Edwards at Arizona State. Before he even got off the damn field, he should have been fired. It's not even, to me, that's not even a discussion. For Dan Campbell to tell them the play before the game, to brief them on the entire play, he told them who's going to report, when they're going to run it. He said, in the fourth quarter, late, if we need a 2-point conversion, that's going to be our play. Told him the exact play, told him who's going to report, told him exactly how it's going to happen. For them to say, okay, got it. And then in crunch time, when you absolutely have to have it, gutsy call, massive stones from Dan Campbell, pulls out the play. It works to perfection. They did it exactly how they should have. They go up to the ref. He reports. And for him to screw that up in that moment is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. He should be fired on the spot. And this is indicative of a larger issue. To not have full-time officials is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. For Brad Allen to have a second job it should be his only job now, but that is just embarrassing. To have part-time officials as a 10, 15, $20 billion league, people are like, well, they don't make that much in revenue. If you could sell the NFL right now, if they went on the market, they would get a $100 billion offer. It'd be stupid. Elon Musk would give them 90% of his net worth to own the NFL. I mean, that's a $50 billion minimum value for this league, and you can't pay for full-time officials. It's sad. It's really sad. That's the state of the NFL officiating. That's for one. Let's switch over to the state of the NFL media. Weak management gets swayed by public opinion very easily. Think about, this happens at every job. Think about a lot of people have worked in a restaurant, right? Think about if you have a weak boss, people are going to come in late. People are going to, work at a restaurant. People are going to get some free meals here and there, a free drink here, free drink there. Yeah, it doesn't matter because weak management, you can kind of walk over them a little bit, right? You can sway them. Hey, Mr. Manager, we need this, this, and this. And, oh, well, hey, okay, whatever works for you guys, right? You're going to see that happen in Chicago, and you shouldn't let it happen. The fans chanting, "We want Fields." That's fine. Justin's been a good kid, good pro, very talented quarterback. I would argue underwhelming in terms of wins, losses, and what we've gotten from the draft choice in terms of value. But he's been a good pro, a good kid, very talented, and he's really playing well right now. He deserves credit for that. But to argue that you would not pick Caleb Williams over sticking with Justin Fields is an absolutely downright insane proposition. It makes no sense. That'd be like saying if the Steelers held the first pick, you would take Kenny Pickett over Caleb Williams. Now, granted, Justin Fields is way more productive and way more talented than Kenny Pickett on a statistical basis. But if we're talking wins and losses here, which is what makes the dough, that makes the money in the league, you win, you make money as an organization. If we're talking pure wins and losses and production in that and leading them to, let's say, quote unquote, the promised land, Kenny Pickett's been way more productive, wins, losses, money brought in for the Pittsburgh Steelers than Justin Fields has for the Chicago Bears. It would be an insane proposition to say that. It is an insane proposition to say you would rather have Justin Fields, who, by the way, you have to pay coming up in about a year and a half. So not only is he not winning now with a rookie contract. Now, we can argue, who's building the roster. That's not his fault that he doesn't have a great roster, right? He's been cheap. They should have built around him now. I get that argument. But if we pay him, the roster's not getting better. The roster's not getting better with a $30 million quarterback. I don't think he would garner massive $40, $50 million money. 30, 35, which I wouldn't pay him. I wouldn't pay him $35 million. I'd pay him $25 million. But you get to restart the clock with a generational prospect. Like, do we all understand how good Caleb Williams is as a prospect? I don't care that he lost to Tulane last year. I don't care that he lost at Utah. It doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes had a losing college record. I don't give a damn. I really don't. Big Ben played at Miami of Ohio, for Christ's sake. Are we really talking about, Caleb Williams lost a couple games in college? Who gives a rip? Nobody cares. Not a single scout can look anybody for real in the eye and say, your wins and losses matter more than anything. Do they matter a little bit? Yeah, sure. You'd like to see a guy who wins. If it was about winning, every single Georgia quarterback would be the number 1 overall pick. Every single Alabama quarterback would be the number 1 overall pick. It's not about wins and losses. It's about traits. It's about physical abilities. And Caleb Williams is one of the best prospects we've seen in the last 2 to 3 decades. I mean, the size, the speed, the arm, the accuracy. And I mean, we can talk about, he cried here and he cried there and he seems like he pouts a little bit. Very mature, can read defenses, has been in a really, really tough system and has orchestrated it beautifully, right? He is a ready-to-go NFL superstar waiting to happen. Don't mess this up, Chicago. You haven't had a franchise quarterback ever, I would argue. If you want to tell me Jay Cutler, I would disagree, but you haven't had a franchise quarterback ever. Go get your franchise quarterback. He's a can't-miss prospect. Don't outthink the room here. And then the media that's telling you that you should stick with Justin Fields, don't listen to them either. That's just downright stupid.
Yeah, I was going to say and add to that. The NFL scouts don't give a damn about the lacking qualities of the USC defense.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's been the number 1 offense the last 2 years in college football.
Yes,
They average more points and more yards than anybody in college football over the last, 25 games?
But their defense cracking and crumbling to a Tulane is not going to affect Caleb Williams' draft stock whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
Can we relax with that, please?
It is one of the dumbest arguments. This is when and it's only starting now. Just wait till a month before the draft.
Pro days.
Oh my God, you're going to hear Michael Penix could be the first overall pick. Bo Nix is moving up draft boards. Drake May actually might be better. Right? It's going to be just Zach Wilson is actually, if you think about it, a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. No, he's not.
No.
He's 5'11", $150 soaking wet.
And the fact that people, after watching him this year, I understand that you can maybe see some special and you can maybe see some potential to pop, and the athletic ability with Justin is always there. I get that.
For sure. He's a really talented player.
But we just saw him only win 5 games out of 26 now?
He was 5 for his first 26. Now he's won a couple lately, so I think he's I don't even think he's hit 10 wins yet. I think he's 9-29 or something like that.
If you're not winning games, you cannot be the starting quarterback. In the NFL, that matters.
I would tend to agree.
So in college, winning doesn't matter as much as your own, tools that you have as a player and athlete. Once you get to the NFL,
winning matters.
Have to win.
Winning
it doesn't matter what potential you have.
That's why, in terms of value, you think it's crazy, but Kenny Pickett's a more valuable quarterback than Justin Fields.
Because there are more
Because
wins.
Because he wins.
There's more wins. You sell more tickets. You make more money.
Right.
The organization benefits.
Right.
Anyway.
Crazy.
You had a lot to say, huh?
Yeah, it was a good one today.
Absolutely.
Came out fiery.
Gotta love it. All right.
New year, new me. Well, same me, but, fiery me.
New year, new hits and misses?
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Hits and misses.
Also, I was like, is there music? There it is. Hit number 1 here. Florida State. Everybody, they deserve to be in the college football playoff. No. They don't deserve shit. That's on them. They're like, the games matter. I'm like, yeah, you're right. The games do matter. I watched the game in which you averaged 3.5 yards of play versus Louisville. You're right. The game mattered. More than the outcome matter. They're like, we have to contextualize things. The games matter. And I'm like, I did. I actually went a step farther in contextualization. I watched the games and analyzed how you played in them.
Yes.
That's a step farther than you're willing to go. You're like, well, these games need context. You're right, they do. And you played terribly in them. So the context is there. It didn't go your way. And for them to go out and get shellacked 63-3,
Yeah.
made my weekend, I have to say. And I know people are like, well, they had people in the transfer portal. Dude, everybody does. Cry about it. Cry me a river. If you think you're that good, your argument was that it doesn't matter who you're missing. Your argument was, well, it doesn't matter if we're missing our starting quarterback. We're undefeated. Okay, well, then it shouldn't matter who you were missing for that bowl game. And you got shellacked. So nobody cares.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. Nobody wants to watch a backup quarterback play in the college football playoffs.
It was like their third string guy. It wasn't even just a backup. It was like their third and fourth string guy. I think they were on their fifth quarterback at the end of that bowl game.
It was it was really bad. This also speaks to, look, they want the best product. We just watched you get beat 63-3 by Georgia. If you were in the top four, the top four, then that's an 80-0 football
So if you put
game.
them against Michigan in that Rose Bowl,
80-0.
That's a 40. I mean, the line itself would start at 23.5.
More than that. Like more than that.
Well, no, I think I would pick Michigan to cover. I think it'd be like a 42-3 type of game, but the line would be close to 30. Yes. I would say it'd be similar to like Michigan playing Rutgers. And it would be a 30-point line.
Did I watch the Florida State game this last week? Yes. Was it for very long? No. By the second quarter, I walked away. I started doing other things. You come back. You periodically give it a check on the phone.
Right.
It's not interesting for the college football playoffs. I want interesting. I want captivating the entire way through.
I really appreciate you saying that because I was just about to transition to that. Because we said, deserving or not, this is the best 4-team field that they've put out since the college football playoff
time
ever. This is easily the best 4. Easily.
It's
that
really
was
good.
100% without a doubt the most two entertaining semifinal games paired. That's been the most entertaining year and the best product in the 4 years.
Game. That Michigan-Alabama game was
unbelievable.
Electric.
Unbelievable. And then that Texas-Washington game was fantastic.
Same
fantastic. Thing. So the committee got it right, and we said they did. So that was hit number 1 here. Miss number 1. I thought Mason Rudolph would be competent, right? I didn't think he'd be okay. I didn't think he'd be 2 wins, including a road win over a good Seattle team.
You know who
did? I think we were partially kidding, but partially serious. Like, I think you threw it out there as kind of like a long shot odd. Like, what if he's actually really good and leads us to some wins?
Yeah, but
and he's now 2-0.
Yeah. It wasn't like the solid prediction.
I think because we both faded him this week, so we neither of us expected it this week. On the road at Seattle, that's wild.
And we're going to fade him again, but like... Maybe. That might be one
at
of the
Baltimore,
ones I can get you.
We'll see. They clinched the 1 seed, though. So are they going to start Tyler Huntley?
Fair enough. Okay, well, we're going to stick to the content of the miss. Yes, Mason Rudolph looks actually pretty damn good. We had another game. The Steelers have over 400 yards of offense.
Yep. Love to see it. Good little segue here because hit number 2 is the Ravens did clinch that 1 seed. And although we had some questions about the team, I remember during predictions I said, what are the odds Lamar comes out with an absolute vengeance? Because he was hurt the last 2 years at the end of the year. He was doubted during contract discussions. Both sides are leaking things. Well, we have concerns about Lamar's throwing and health and this and that. Logical concerns. But for a professional athlete, that is jet fuel. So I said, watch him just come out hair on fire. 1 seed. He's going to win the MVP. I mean, we kind of called this type of season from Lamar. I didn't expect the defense to be good enough to be the best team in football. But either way, we expected Lamar in that offense to be every bit of this good, and they've been fantastic.
And I think you can make the argument, or at least I am ready to, that the MVP is becoming more clear-cut.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been one of the most gray years that we've had.
There were a lot of names up in the air. We were discussing it last week.
Right.
I think now you're able to see, and I thought about it during the game, actually, when I was watching that absolute routing by
that was wild. What was it, 56-19 or something like that?
So we've seen the Ravens now without Lamar. We've seen the Huntley experiment, right, for the last 2 end of seasons into the postseason type deal.
We now see the clear value.
We saw the team without him, and that you see the team with him now and playing this well down the stretch, like going to win the AFC probably.
Right, they average like 29 points a game when he starts. They average like 16 or 17 when he doesn't.
The value is apparent. It's based on value.
Yeah, I would agree. Because early in his career, I was like, well, I feel like most mobile quarterbacks would be pretty good in that system, but he just takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, Brock Purdy my ass, right?
Yeah, Brock Purdy my ass. Come on now. And I like stats just as much as the next guy, but you're going to start to hear the arguments. The other sides, Brock's side, and Dak's team are going to start leaking like, well, look at the stats. Mm-hmm. Watch the games. Come on, like nobody watches the games and goes, yeah, Dak's a better, more valuable player than Lamar Jackson. Not even close.
Like Cooper Rush won 4 games.
Yeah. Miss number 2 here. The Chiefs were a Super Bowl pick. We basically said until they show me that they're not the favorite, I'm going to just accept what it is. I'm not going to try to be trendy. I'm going to say they should be the favorite. They won last year. Very, very similar team. Mahomes is still great. Andy Reid, blah, 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 blah. That was probably not the best decision. I just don't know. I know they won this past week. It's just that they don't wow me in any way.
They don't look the same at all.
They just don't look the same. They can't fall behind at all. They are more reliant on the run game, which is fine, but it's too inconsistent to rely on. And again, if you fall behind, you can't rely on the run game. It's just they just don't have. I don't think they have what it takes. The defense is good, although I think it's slightly overrated. I think against really good offenses, that defense can get exposed.
Yeah.
They're good, but they lack the back-end depth, I think, to really compete against a Ravens-type team. I think they're good. I think they're probably... I would go Ravens or Bills number 1 for me, and then I'd go Chiefs would be 3. So either Bills or Ravens 1 or 2,
I would argue
in whatever order.
3, maybe down to 4 even on some weeks.
There's an argument that Cleveland... So if I was the Chiefs, I would want...
No part of Cleveland.
No. None. Like if Cleveland somehow became the 6th seed, which they won't, they'll be the 5.
Yeah.
I would want no part of Cleveland.
It's just...
Cleveland's going to go in and thump whoever the AFC South winner is.
You said they're becoming more reliant on the run game, which is fine. But when you have the best quarterback in football, that should be the feature of your team.
I would agree.
Like that should be what you do really well.
I would agree. Hit number 3 here. I've always liked Michigan, or I've always liked Harbaugh. Now that he's at Michigan, I really like Michigan as well. And I said, I saw Texas for 7.5 minutes with no deception run the ball down Alabama's throat to end it, and that was in Tuscaloosa. I was like, Michigan's going to run the ball all over Alabama. They did whatever they wanted on the ground, basically. I mean, it was dicey there for a second, but when it mattered most, Michigan said, here it is. We are going to run the ball right at you. Figure out how to stop it. Alabama had no answer. Blake Corum had a fantastic game. It's exactly what I expected. Good for Michigan. Good for Harbaugh.
And is that not what the Big Ten does the best, too?
Oh, my God, power football.
We're going to come out and we're going to run the football down your throat. Can you stop it? And I know the SEC has a little bit more high-flying, more similar to how the NFL is trending now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is nothing like old-school smash-mouth football.
So I know that Washington's a Pac-12 team this year, but they're a Big Ten team next year. You have 2 Big Ten teams squaring off in the national championship. Is there an argument that the Big Ten could be more of a powerhouse than the SEC?
It's definitely a discussion to be had.
I think it's
We're writing that down for later.
I think it's a discussion to be had. I think that's one of those, hey, look ahead. That's definitely on the horizon.
Fair enough.
Oregon's not slowing down. They just got 2 of the best quarterback transfers. They got 2 of the top 3 quarterback transfers. They're going to be fantastic. Their offensive line's great. They'll fit in just fine in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Washington's good. Kalen DeBoer's not going anywhere. So whoever the next quarterback is, they'll be just fine. Maybe not quite as good. Maybe they'll take a step back. But within a year or 2, they'll be right back here.
They're going to be really competitive.
I mean, UCLA is still very, very viable. Chip Kelly's a really good coach. I mean, you, of course, have Ohio State. You, of course, have Michigan. Penn State's viable. If Wisconsin's like the 7th best team in your conference, you're a damn good conference. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the SEC is not good, but it's going to be a discussion to be had.
I think there could be the argument, for more, I guess, consistency among the conference.
Yeah. Miss number 3 here. I didn't think at the beginning of this year Jordan Love was a very good quarterback. I saw him in person. I'm not very impressed. He's okay. He makes some good throws. It was the consistency. He completes like 50% of his throws for the first 2 months of the year. But I think there's an argument, as of right now, he's a mid-level franchise quarterback. I think he's more dynamic and more talented, but less consistent. So I think that kind of balances out and puts him in like a Jared Goff, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins type, like anywhere between, on any given Sunday, the 12th and 18th best quarterback in football. That's kind of where I view him, although I think he's more physically talented than some of those guys.
I agree. I would just like to see more. So I
want to see more consistency.
He's been sitting on the bench for so long. I think by Thanksgiving of next year, we should know.
I think he definitely earned himself.
Second year.
He probably definitely earned himself next year an argument for a year, another 2-year contract.
Unless the Packers get a deal,
like what if they said
no to.
What if they went to him after this year and said 2 for $60? $30 million a year, 2 years, $60 million. I think he earned himself 2 more years of being a starting quarterback.
Yes, I would argue more towards maybe the $50 million for 2 years. I could sleep with $25 million to Jordan Love for each year.
We'll see, I guess.
You know what
we'll
I mean?
see.
All right.
That's hits and misses. Don't go anywhere. We have our Week 18 predictions. You got to have a heater of a week.
I have to.
You're taking some big risks, casino-type week for you. And then, of course, we'll follow with bets on a budget, looking to go 5-0 and hit that sharp line for you guys. Welcome in 2024. It's now, January 4th, something like that?
January 4th.
Feels good to be in 2024. Had a very nice growth trajectory in 2023. We appreciate all of your guys' support, and we hope to see even more this coming year in 2024. Again, like it, share it, download it, do whatever you got to do to help our algorithm out. We really appreciate you guys doing that and supporting us. And in turn, we love making this content for you, and we hope you enjoy it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to drop a comment, an email, whatever the case may be, on social media, website, whatever, and however you can reach us. We appreciate all of that, and we appreciate you guys.
100%. Could have said it better myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we got our Week 18 predictions this segment. We got our Week 18 bets on a budget. So kind of a sad week. This is one of our favorite things that we do. And also the very important week, right? We're down to things now. Tim, you lead 9-8 in weeks. So and in individual picks, you lead by 8. So my thinking, let's just get this out of the way. Let's get this before you hear some of these picks that I have. I need you to understand
they're
why.
They're not awful though.
I looked at the teams that I'm taking, and
it could be worse.
It could happen.
No, I mean it's a 9-leg parlay, but it could be worse.
Crazier things have happened.
Absolutely.
So I'm down 8 picks. I need to. My options here were just go for the win on the week, end 9-9, lose the tiebreaker, say, you know what, it's been a great season. We were 500. I lost the tiebreaker. Boo-hoo, right? We live to fight another season. Or I could choose the path that makes me a man and take 9 splits this week.
What a description.
On teams that
you normally probably wouldn't.
I probably would never think about
There's
picking.
about 4 or 5 of these teams that I think you would pick. Like I think the Colts you would, a little spoiler alert. I think there's a couple that I can see you taking no matter what.
Uh-huh.
But there's a couple that I'm like, oh, he's digging.
Like sweating this one.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to preface it before everybody starts, trying to admit me to a psych ward. This is it. This is the final push. Week 18 predictions. Every pick for every game. Let's go.
All right, let's start with, so there's 2 Saturday games. The rest are on Sunday. Let's go ahead and start with the Steelers at the Ravens. We're both going to take the Steelers. Why do you feel good about taking the Steelers?
The Mason Rudolph effect. A quarterback that can throw the ball around. The Steelers offense looks competent for the first time in a while. They're running the ball. Jaylen Warren looks awesome. George Pickens finally being included in the offense, which, where has that been all season? And the Steelers are playing for a lot. The Ravens,
they already clinched the 1 seed. I think they're going to rest some people. But there's an argument that, why would you rest people? Because you're already going to get the first round bye. Dude, you're going to not play for 3 weeks. You're going to come out rusty in that divisional round.
But, you can't risk anything with Lamar. You haven't had Lamar at this point in the season for so long.
Do you play him a couple snaps, a quarter,
maybe
a preseason game almost?
Yeah, you treat it like a preseason game maybe. You roll him out there.
You don't let him run, just throw the ball around.
If he even gets sacked, if TJ Watt gets a hand on him, I'm like, all right, he's done.
Yep.
Go relax.
Couldn't agree more.
Go toss a heating pack on and go ride the bike on the sideline and get massaged by our trainer.
I think he's going to rest the entire game, though. Vegas clearly knows something. Pittsburgh's favored by 4.
Yeah, that doesn't happen all the time.
I'll take Pittsburgh. Okay, our first of 9 splits. Houston traveling to Indianapolis. Winner of the division, or winner of the game, is in, and with a loss in Jacksonville, the winner of the game is the winner of the division as well. I'll go ahead and take the better quarterback. I think I get a better quarterback. I know he's on the road, C.J. Stroud. I'll take the Texans to win. A little bit of a shootout. I'll go 33-30. I think it's going to be an offensive explosion. really good quarterback versus a really good offensive coach in Indy. I'll take the better quarterback in a quarterback league.
I'm taking the offensive coach here. I needed a split,
I don't think it's crazy.
and I don't feel horrible about this one. This is
No,
one
they're
of the
at
better
home
ones.
too.
Yes, and they've played well. Like the Colts have impressed at points in the season. Now, all they need to do is get the win.
I can't get that Atlanta loss out of my head. That's my problem.
That one
30-13
that one
against Atlanta.
Sticks. Yes.
They're not. Atlanta's not a good team.
Not even
I saw
close
the
to a good
Bears
team.
throttle them last week. So that's what sticks in my head for that one.
It's just I need something. I think Indy's got enough
Yeah,
to
that's
possibly
fair.
put it away.
It's fair. Vikings at the Lions. We have 2 straight actual agreements here, so I'll go with the Lions. I think they're a better football team, and they are still playing for something. I think they're going to come out so pissed about that call. I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire and just destroy the Vikings.
You have to be. And the Vikings are playing horrible football.
I just don't trust anybody at quarterback for them. I take the better quarterback. I think I'm going to take the better roster as well.
The bad taste in my mouth for the Vikings is what just happened to them against Green Bay. A Jordan Love-led Green Bay team, which is fine, but you shouldn't lose like that.
Not like that. Buccaneers to the Panthers. Bucs are a better team, and again, they're playing for their life. The Panthers, it doesn't matter. Yeah. They don't even have their first-round picks. They're not even playing. they have literally nothing to play. I mean, jobs. Nobody's ever going to not play for anything, but little tiny edges here and there about playing for this, playing for that. Whenever it gets late in the fourth quarter, push comes to shove. You need that extra bit of juice that you're playing for.
Yeah.
The Bucs have it. I'll go with the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucs as well.
Jets at the Patriots. I'll go ahead and take the Pats. I think they're at home. They're favored by 2.5. Jets just seem like the air is just out of that team. Like, there's just no life left, right? Aaron gets hurt, deflates the locker room, and they've just gone on a downward spiral. It just doesn't seem like there's any life in that locker room. I do think there's an argument that what the Patriots showed me against Denver and what they showed me last week fighting against Buffalo, there's still some fight in that locker room. I don't like Bill Belichick. I think he's lost a lot of the locker room. There's still guys that are playing hard for Bill and that staff. So I think the Patriots have a little bit more fire. I'll go with the Pats at home, better defense. I don't know who's going to lead drives for the Jets. That's my problem.
Taking the Jets, Jets.
All right, fair enough.
I think their defense hopefully has enough left in the tank to.
You're going to need defensive touchdowns, though. Do you understand that you're going to need a defensive touchdown?
We're going to need defensive touchdowns. We're going to need a hell of a lot more than just that. I'm going to need a miracle game from New York here. I just don't. At the end of the day, I don't feel great about.
This is one of the ones I don't think you would take unless you were this desperate.
Yeah. But I have some glimmers of hope.
Well, no, yeah, Breece Hall can run the ball. We know Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi aren't very good. You have a chance, yeah.
The offense has been anemic in New England, so there are ways that it can work out. Do I see it working out? Probably not. If you're listening to this for advice on betting or on picks, if you're doing a full pick 'em of the week, don't listen to me. I'm solely riding for it for personal reasons. I'm taking the Jets.
Falcons at the Saints. You would never normally bet the Falcons, but you're going to go ahead and ride with them. I'll go with the Saints. I think at home, that offense is underrated. They've just been very inconsistent. When they play well, they're very good, and we know Atlanta's defense can, they have some weaknesses. They have some holes, especially with mobile quarterbacks like Justin Fields like we saw last week. So I think if you sub Taysom Hill in a little bit here and there, the 1-2 punch with him and Derek Carr I think will be good. I think the Saints will win by 7.
Fair enough. I'm just going to start shooting it back over to you for some of the ones that I don't even feel good
That's
about.
That's fair. You just...
I'm not going to cloud up airtime with nonsense.
That's fair. I appreciate that. Cleveland at Cincinnati. I've been back and forth on this one. I think I'll go ahead and take the Bengals. I know they're not playing for much. They're out of the playoff race. Cleveland is, of course, in it. But I think... If my math is correct, Cleveland is pretty much locked into that 5 seed. So I think they're going to probably rest some guys because they'll have to go on the road for their playoff run, so they could use some rest. It's a little bit of an experienced roster. They've dealt with a ton of injuries, so they're probably going to rest some guys. I think Jake Browning, there's going to be a real argument if he plays well and wins, and that's the last thing we remember of Jake Browning. There's going to be somebody that's going to pay him better money than what he's making right now, even if it is just to be a backup. I think somebody will invest decent money in him, whether it's a starter or a backup. So I'll take the Bengals at home.
I'm taking the Browns. This is one of the ones where I will give a bit of an explanation just because I think this one is in our bets on a budget for the Browns to cover.
Yeah.
Just a little preview.
Yeah.
The Stefanski's done enough to make me trust that even with a couple backups, if they do have a couple of backups in, that the next man up mentality in that building this year has been off the charts insane.
He's coach of the year. He has to be.
He has to be coach of the year.
He has to be.
So I think, especially against a divisional opponent in Cincinnati, who isn't playing the best football this year, I think there's a very good chance that the Browns walk away winning this one with resting people. Because obviously, if they're not resting anybody, I'm taking the Browns all day. No thought. They're favored.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Jaguars at the Titans. It's in Nashville, so I guess there's maybe a chance. I'll take the Jags, though. Again, fighting for their life. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they need some help. So, yeah, I would go ahead and go with the Jags.
I'm taking the Jags as well.
Yeah, I get a better quarterback as well. Rams at the Niners. I'll take the Niners. I think they're probably going to start Sam Darnold, but and I know they might have some backups play, but I don't think there's a ton. I don't think there's a ton of drop off. I think that roster's so good. I think they're going to be fine resting a couple people. And the Rams clinched, so they could maybe move up to the 6, but I think they're going to end up being the 7 seed anyway. So, actually, they are the 6. They could move up. No, they won't move up to the 5 either, and I don't think they're going to drop back. No, I'll go ahead and take the Niners.
I'm going Rams. I like the McVay-Shanahan matchup has been very favorable to McVay.
That's fair.
I think the Rams are a good side to take when I'm trying to look for wins here. So I'm going to go Rams.
Yeah, Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. We both agree here. We'll go with the Seahawks. I think the Cardinals probably fall back down to earth a little bit. Really, really emotional road win at Philadelphia. Now you have to fly back over to your side of the country. Again, I know there's a week in between. I think that stuff matters, though, and I think the emotional letdown from a big win like that can be very real. Mm-hmm. I'll take the Seahawks. Again, Pete Carroll, I don't want to say they're an underdog, but backs against the wall. Pete Carroll's a very good coach, so I'll take Seattle on that spot.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle. The Sidney Crosby jersey effect doesn't have the same effect that it does.
That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's how you strike fear into Philadelphia.
Yeah. Broncos at the Raiders. I'll take the Raiders. I like them at home. I like that defense against Jarrett Stidham. They had Jarrett Stidham in the building, so they know what to expect. I think the game plan is going to be on point from Antonio Pierce. I think they win in a low-scoring, close game.
I've always been a big fan of the Broncos. I think they have one of the best teams this season. I think they're going to be able to have their way here. I'm taking the Broncos.
Yeah. Cowboys at the Commanders. Cowboys can, of course, win the division with a win. So I'll go ahead and take the Cowboys to win. I think they're playing for a little bit more than the Commanders. There was an argument. It's 13. I was thinking about maybe the Commanders, but the Cowboys are just too talented.
You can't do that. There's no way. Right, the Cowboys.
It's a lot of points in a divisional matchup in Washington. That's my point. And Dallas has not been the same on the road.
And I get that, but like the way we've seen Dallas play this year, especially when they are big favorites,
especially when they're against bad teams as well.
They usually cover that.
I know. Chiefs at the Chargers. I actually really like the Chargers here. I think it's an interesting spot playing for some jobs. Chiefs can't really move a ton in terms of seeding. And I think clearly Vegas knows something. The Chargers are favored by 2. And so I think that what that means is Mahomes is going to rest. Travis Kelce aging is probably going to rest. Some of the veteran guys in the offensive line are going to rest. Of course, Mack and Bosa are going to be able to get after whoever it does start a quarterback for the Chiefs. I'll take the Chargers, especially at home. They've always played them tight, especially with Herbert. I know Herbert's not playing, but that team has played the Chiefs tight the last couple of years. I'll take the Chargers to win in a close one.
I just like the Chiefs here. There's been a lot of noise in the Chargers camp this year. Obviously, we've covered that the whole way through. You have a backup quarterback there, too. So even if you rest Mahomes, you have 2 backups playing each other.
It's true.
I like Andy Reid more than the interim.
Okay, now, the coaching, yes, and normally if Mahomes plays quarterback advantage, yes. If you have 2 backup quarterbacks, I can make the case that LA has a better overall roster.
I mean, you take Mahomes away, and
do they not?
I mean, who you got? You got Pacheco, and that's about it.
It's interesting to think about, though.
Yeah.
Eagles at the Giants. I'll go ahead and take the Eagles. I think you will as well. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting game to stay close, especially with Tyrod Taylor starting for the Giants. Grown up, I've always liked Tyrod more than others, but I'll take the Eagles to win on the road by a field goal.
This one isn't. Yeah, this one is very much of an argument for me. I was never going to think about taking the Giants.
Yeah, no. Bears at the Packers. I'll take the Packers. Jordan Love experience. I am jumping on the Jordan Love bandwagon. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. I think they're a fringe playoff team, which is exactly where they're at right now. I'll take Jordan Love to win at home.
Fair. I don't have an argument for this one.
Bears. Hey, Justin Fields has been playing well, so it's a decent argument.
Been okay, but
he's been playing a little bit better.
After everything I've said this year, I can't say
fair.
it into a microphone.
Bills at the Dolphins for the AFC East. Now, this is going to be an awesome game. Nobody's resting at all. You need the AFC East.
This is our game of the week.
One game for the year for them. I'll take the Bills. I just don't think the Dolphins are going to have an answer for Josh Allen every time. I mean, Josh Allen's 8-1 against the Dolphins in his career, so they just don't have an answer for his physicality. I'll go with the Bills.
This is one where I'm going to have to really pray for the Dolphins. I mean, it is. I know what the history has looked like, and I saw the history earlier this season. I didn't like what I saw from the Dolphins and from Tua. I think this week, with so much on the line, it might look a little bit different, might be a little bit closer, and now you've seen them, so you kind of know how to scheme a little bit better. I'll take the Dolphins on a wish list pick.
Fair enough.
But I do see the Bills having a great game.
I'm not running back through 9 splits. I'm sorry, I refuse to do it. If you want to, by all means, go ahead.
I don't have them in front of me.
Yeah,
so
we're just gonna not do that.
There's already
go back and rewind. That was also one of our longer predictions. So we can't. We got to be judicious on time here. Damn it.
Yeah, you can't just be throwing the valuable time away.
I know. Let's go ahead and move into bets on a budget. Brought to you by Sobet. Use code the issue when you sign up. Really is an investment. This week may not be the best week for lines. You don't know who's playing, when they're playing, how much they're going to play. So this is a weird week, but in general, we are at about 54.5%. Trying to get to that sharp line. See if we can hit a little improbable 5-0 this week.
I gotta say, if there's a week that we're gonna do it, and you said that betting might not be the best this week, we have to at least acknowledge the fact that it could be the riskiest week to make some money. Though,
it's going to be the riskiest week, which with risk becomes
reward.
It gets high rewards. So, bet number 1 here. Let's go with Detroit -3 versus Minnesota. Again, I think they're going to come out with a vengeance. Now there has been a ton of Minnesota money coming in. It started at 5.5. And has been bet down to 3.5, depending on where you're at. So there's been some Minnesota money coming in. I don't get that. Maybe some people are hearing that Detroit might rest some people, but I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire. Yeah. And I think Detroit wins by a touchdown. I just don't trust whoever Minnesota's starting at quarterback. I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to have the game of his life. I'll take Detroit.
The Lions have gotten their feet back underneath of them. They slipped for a little bit there at they're going
to be fine.
Middle-ish point of the season.
It's a team I don't want to see in the playoffs.
No, not at all. They're very similar to a Cleveland, but on the NFC side.
Yeah, I agree. Tampa Bay -5.5 at Carolina. This is a game where probably not a lot of people are going to be resting. This is a game that Tampa Bay needs to win to get in.
Yep.
And this is one of those games. Baker's playing for a job and a contract. If Baker wins and gets to the playoffs with a second team and a second conference, he's going to get a $30-something million contract. Maybe 40. You think it's crazy? Baker will get paid decent money if he wins and gets into the playoffs.
At least for a year or two.
And I think Baker with a chip on his shoulder, which we've seen, can be special. I'll take Tampa Bay -5.5.
100% agree. I really like that one.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite bet on the board. Cleveland +6 at Cincinnati. This might be my second favorite bet. That's a ton of points for a really good defense in a divisional game. That's just too many points for me. That's a point blank. I don't care who's starting. Divisional game, at Cincinnati, could be cold, could be windy. Cleveland, good defense, way too many points.
And I feel like the Steelers we've watched the Steelers play Cleveland a lot in Week 18 games. Is Cleveland not the best Week 18 team that you've seen?
Yeah, they're always viable in Week 18, which is kind of crazy. No matter how bad they are, they always give us a fight in Week 18.
Oh, yeah.
Vegas -2.5 versus Denver. I said it already. Jarrett Stidham's been in that building. Right? They know exactly what they're going to get. Right? I know Sean Payton's offense is a little bit different, but they know Jarrett Stidham's abilities, his limitations. And I think that's going to come in clutch for a defensive coach, Antonio Pierce. I like them to win narrow cover. I like them to win by a field goal because I think Denver's still scrappy, but I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I took Denver just for pure picking sake. But this is one where I think the Raiders kind of run away with it. I haven't seen much from Denver that makes me point at them and say
that's one of your least favorite splits there, is Denver?
That's one of the least favorite
Denver's
splits.
Just been so inconsistent.
That's one of my reaches.
It's been so inconsistent, especially with a backup. Kansas City +2.5 at the LA Chargers. I know I picked the Chargers. It would not surprise me at all if the Chiefs go in there and win outright. That's one that I am okay losing. And I think in terms of value, I think the value is with the Chiefs at 2.5. Anytime the Chiefs, especially Andy Reid, now you could argue is it anytime Mahomes gets money, or is it anytime Andy Reid? Like anytime they're underdogs, they usually play well. I don't know if it's Andy Reid or Fitzpatrick Mahomes. I'm just banking on it being Andy Reid when he's an underdog, plays well. And I think Kansas City +2.5 is the side.
And it's a very successful organization. It's very well built. Like the framework is there for them to do well with missing pieces.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, guys, this is a rough week for betting. This is kind of one of those, a lot of gutsy picks. We're dumpster diving a little bit. Detroit -3 versus Minnesota. Tampa Bay -5 at Carolina. Cleveland +6 at Cincinnati. Vegas -2.5 versus Denver. And Kansas City +2.5 at the Chargers, guys. There it is. That's bets on a budget for a Week 18 slate. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have the top 10 NFL quarterbacks on the other side of the break, and we'll finish off with the game of the week. The Buffalo Bills traveling to Miami.
We are back in the third segment to a show that is just completely off the rails.
It's gone off the rails. It's gone off the rails.
It started. We had very high hopes. 2024 seemingly to be an impossible year.
Okay, no, it's still been a good show. It's still been a good show, but we are off the rails.
We had a light go down in the middle of the train in the middle of the break. So if
gone off the tracks.
If it looks different on Tim's side over here, we know the reasoning. Just bear with us for this week. We'll have it fixed by next
Maybe a little
Thursday.
more shadows. Maybe even on your face, too, over there.
Yeah, possibly. It's blinding to look at. Anyway,
I don't know.
We will have a good segment, nevertheless. We're going to push through. We're going to have the top 10 quarterbacks list to start things off here. And then we're going to have the game of the week, of course, that being the Bills and the Dolphins to finish off the show and the segment. Guys, go check out theissuesports.com if you haven't. We got the newsletter over there. Subscribe. It comes out every Wednesday. Very informational and gives you a good insight to what we're talking about the next day on Thursday when the show comes out. And then while you're over there, you can follow social medias, do all that good stuff. And pretty much everything can be found on the website or in the description of the episodes and or videos, wherever you can find them. So we appreciate it. All right, let's go. We have the top 10 quarterbacks to rank. This is, of course, going into the last week of the season. Kind of gives you a good gauge, and it's only for this week. So the list is made off of who would you want starting as your quarterback for this week?
Yeah, I think they're and people are like, well, what about the entire year? Well, I think some of that factors in, right? Like if you've been good all year, well, of course I want you, like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, yes, we're looking at right now. So I'm not looking 5 years out. I'm not looking 10 years out, right? I'm not looking for next year. I'm not looking, I have a 3-year deal. This year, how have they been, and how does that make me feel about them going into this week?
Perfect. Let's go.
Okay. We'll start at 10 and go to 1. If you're new here, that's how we do all of our lists. Number 10, Baker Mayfield. You think it's crazy?
Welcome to the list.
Baker's got 28 touchdown passes. If Baker, he's got a 96 pass rating, very, very competent. And yes, there's offensive talent on that roster, but it's a little bit overrated. Outside of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin is a low-end 2. At this point in his career, he's been around for a while. Rashad White is not a real number 1 type running back, although he's been playing well as of late. And the offensive line is good, not great. And he has been very competent with them. Again, 96 pass rating or 95.8, something like that. And then, it's really, if Baker wins this week and gets into the playoffs with a second team in the NFC now, so in a second conference, second team gets into the playoffs, he deserves a ton of credit. He has been a very, very competent quarterback this year.
He's impressed. And I think this week he has the opportunity to set himself apart even further.
I would agree. Yeah, good for Baker. I didn't think I'd ever have Baker Mayfield on the top 10
No,
list.
I did not think he'd crack the list, especially after he left Cleveland. I was like, oh, well, I mean, after he starts bouncing around all these
he was in
different teams.
Carolina, wasn't very
then
good.
Then he went to L.A. He was good for like a game or two.
Yeah.
And then, no, he's impressed this season. He's earned himself the distinction of a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year. Who would have thought?
Yeah, number 9, Jared Goff. And I think there's an argument that Jared Goff should be even higher on this list. He has been fantastic. I mean, he is captaining an offense that is top 5 in almost every stat category that matters, and he's a huge part of that. Upper 90s pass rating, really good touchdown-interception ratio. What Jared's done as he's aged and as he's matured is he's cut down on the dumb throws, right? Whether they've led to turnovers or not, he seems to always go to the right spot with the ball. We can argue completion percentage, this, that, and the other thing. He makes the right read almost every time. That's almost all you can ask for at this point for most NFL quarterbacks. Are you going to the right spot at the right time? Jared almost always does. That's my one argument for Bo Nix in terms of the draft. I don't think he's special talent-wise, but he makes the right decision 98% of the time.
Yeah.
We can argue throws this, throw that. Is the guy open? Is it a good defensive play? Physical talent, whatever. He's going to the right spot almost all the time, and that's what Jared Goff does for your offense.
Yeah, and I mean, that doesn't negate the great throwing that we've seen from him and his abilities this year, too. I mean, I have seen him thread the needle on a lot of throws, especially big situations as of late.
Yeah, I would agree.
Really good.
I'd agree. Number 8, C.J. Stroud. I think he's slightly above Jared Goff because I think he's working with less, and I think he's more physically gifted than Jared Goff. His arm's a little bit bigger, and he can move a little bit better than Jared. Jared doesn't really move a ton. He can roll the pocket with him, but C.J. is a legitimate threat with his legs, and so that's why I would say he's slightly better than Jared Goff right now. And again, he's working with less, especially with no Tank Dell. Hanging 26 on the Titans this past week was impressive. He played well. I think C.J. Stroud, there's a very real argument. He'll enter the top 5 by some point in the next year or two. I think he's that good, especially as a rookie. I think he's only going to get better.
I got to say, Offensive Rookie of the Year for sure.
Yeah.
I've liked him all year. He's impressed me, starting especially with that Steeler game when he manhandled a top 3 to 5 defense at the time in the league.
Yeah.
So he's been impressive. I feel more comfortable with him starting for my team or my franchise. Like if you're a Texans fan, you're going into this week, you feel good.
There's an argument that going for the next, let's say, we'll call it 10 years, he might be the first overall. If you could redo your franchise right now, he might be the first pick. I know Mahomes is great, but he's also 28 now.
Yeah.
Or 10 years out.
I just read a lot.
He's 22 years old. He's younger than Michael Penix. He's 22.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's insane.
It's a lot of runway. Number 7, Matt Stafford. There's an argument, and I would honestly subscribe to that argument. He's got the best arm in the league. I'm not talking the strongest arm. I'm not talking he's the most accurate. He's the best combination of all of that. He's a power thrower that has great touch. All the arm angles are spectacular. Doesn't get a ton of credit because he doesn't move as well as Mahomes. But I think he's a better off-platform in terms of arm angle thrower than Patrick Mahomes. I think he's one of the best pure throwers of the football that I've ever seen in my life. I think he's up there with Dan Marino, Jay Cutler. I know Cutler didn't have a great career, but just purely throwing the football. He is in the top 5 in league history. I think he's fantastic. He's playing unbelievable quarterback this year. I know Puka Nacua is great. You think he'd be that good with an average quarterback? I don't. I think he's great because Matt Stafford's great.
Yeah. The ball, 1, always goes to the right spot. 2, it's with pinpoint accuracy. 3, I mean, I have never seen a throw look so effortless from an NFL quarterback.
Effortless.
I mean, it just glides. It's a 65-yard dot.
Yeah.
If he's the captain of the team and running the show over there,
I feel good about it.
No complaints.
Yeah, number 6, Kyler Murray, because I think I get the same effortless deep ball, very good touch, not quite the power arm of Stafford, but
you get more special.
I get more special. I get more off script, and I think at this point it is now week 18. He only started playing in week 11 or 12. He's a little bit fresher. Right, so he can run a little bit more, make a little bit more off-schedule plays, and we know that is the direction of the league. I don't love that he's small, but it's okay. I'm talking one-game scenario, right? We're talking Week 18 and the body of work of this season. I think Kyler Murray has played really well since coming back. I mean, he balled out in Philly this past week, and I know they don't have a great defense, but Kyler played really well, and he's not doing it with a ton of talent around him, so he deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, I like it, and he proved me wrong. I was not a believer when he came back into the season.
I was on the Kyler Murray train, by the way.
You were from the very get-go, and we've had this debate a lot of Kyler Murray over different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think he's finally cemented himself here at number 6.
Yeah, number 5, Brock Purdy. Look, people think I'm a Brock Purdy hater. I said he's not the MVP of the league. I said he's a top 10 quarterback. Hell, he's top 5 on our list right now.
Yeah.
I'm not a Brock Purdy hater. I just don't think he's special. I think he's really, really good. He's really good. He's super productive in that system. I like Brock Purdy in that system a lot. I would take him over obviously everybody below him, and I think Kyler Murray's even better, as a talent than him. I think C.J. Stroud's better as a talent. Right now, I take Brock Purdy. That's how highly I think of him. I think he's really productive. Again, talk about a guy that's going to the right spot all the time. Brock makes really, really good decisions. Baltimore game aside, right? And he does have some special abilities. He had scramble this past week and then scrambles out to his right, throws across his body to Brandon Ayuk. That was a really, really nice play. Brock can play really good football. It's just you worry when the wheels start to fall off, he gets bad quick. Mahomes can have a 3-interception game. Fourth quarter comes around, need a drive from him, done, no problem. Brock, I don't think is that type of guy.
That's fair. Yeah, saying somebody isn't the league MVP
is not hating on them.
It's not hating on them. It's not saying that you think that they're a bad player, because obviously we think very highly of Brock Purdy, and he deserves to be at this 5 spot. I mean, look what he's done with the Niners this year.
Yeah.
You can't just walk in off the street and command an offense like he does.
I couldn't agree more.
It's insane. He's very good.
Couldn't agree more.
But he's not better than the 4 guys that are above him.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get into those 4 guys. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. I know he's had a down year. Ask yourself, for real, if your favorite team faced him in the first round of the playoffs, how would you feel?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd piss down my leg. Your team against him in the playoffs. First of all, going into the game, you're worried about it. Fourth quarter rolls around, 1 drive, Chiefs absolutely need it. How do you feel? Not good. Not good. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks on the planet still. Think about how many drops. I know it's not that bad. If you look at the overall numbers, it's usually the timeliness of the drops that's been more of a factor. But there has to be this sentiment that they're going to just figure it out when the time comes. And I think that is about upon us. I'll take Mahomes over almost anybody in the league. There's an argument I take him over anybody on this list, but right now, I think he's 4.
I agree. And the fact that he's 4 is a credit.
It's impressive on his down year that he's 4. That's
insane.
Yeah. Number 3, Josh Allen. Over the past month, he may be playing better football than anybody, and it's actually, the stats won't back that up, but I think in terms of when and how he's making the plays necessary, they've been running the ball more. Josh has been almost complimentary, but when he's been complimentary, he's been absolutely special. When he's required to make a play, he's been unbelievable. And like you said, not making mistakes, it's been fantastic. Josh Allen at 3.
Yeah. Look, guys, some of these you just have to watch the games.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what to tell you if you're not watching. Our number 1 is going to be you have to watch the games to be able to.
I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by it, though.
No, but like there's more than just the stats. You have to pass every other test, and Josh Allen does.
I would agree. Number 2, Dak Prescott. I think there is an argument he has been very good, and especially a lot of people don't think about this, but the off-the-field stuff and the leadership stuff I think is really, really important. When things tend to go south a little bit for Dallas, Dak reins them in a little bit. Think about how many drives he's had late in the fourth quarter. They may not be game-winning drives. Think about how many drives he has late in the fourth quarter where you absolutely have to have points, and he gets points for you, right? That Miami game, drove down the field, gets points for his team. It's not his fault his defense was a sieve, and then Miami went down to kick the field goal, right? He has been really, really clutch. He's been really good, especially at home, which I think is important because they're going to host a playoff game or 2. So Dak at 2.
Yeah, I agree. Let's not forget he still is getting MVP votes.
Oh, wait, he will win. He'll probably finish 2nd or 3rd in MVP, especially because he got the star on the side of his helmet. That'll help. I don't think that's the reason. I think that'll just help boost him a little bit.
Yeah, but like you said with the off-the-field stuff, when you're a part of the biggest brand in the league, you have to be able to be a great leader,
so
and almost a CEO.
Yeah, I saw a post. It was like Jason Kelsey walking into the game in like sweatpants and slides, and Dak walking in like a full suit. And I don't have a problem with Jason Kelsey walking in like that. He's my center. I don't care what he wears.
Yeah.
To be the Dallas Cowboys franchise quarterback and show up in a suit just says a lot. Does it not? Like, I feel like that's exactly what I want from Dak. That's exactly what I get from Dak. Buttoned up and ready to go.
Yeah.
You know? All right, number 1, Lamar Jackson. I mean, again, watch the games. He is the most impactful player. The amount of ways he can impact a game, he can throw 11 times and complete 4 of them, and it can be dominant. I mean, he's that good. He is, the way he impacts the game, running the ball, leadership, even if he hands the ball off, it doesn't matter. He's so impactful. Lamar Jackson, number 1, and there's an argument he's the most physically gifted quarterback, especially running the football.
Yeah, like we said, watch the game. Like, if you're not watching, I can't help you. You're missing greatness.
I don't know about this. I don't care about the stats. I think he is significantly better than he was when he won his MVP, his first MVP.
Yeah,
I do.
The team's better.
I think he's a better thrower. I think he's a more efficient runner. He doesn't run as much. When he does, he just glides. It's effortless. He stays healthier. I think Lamar's number 1. Let's run back through him. Baker Mayfield at 10, Jared Goff at 9, CJ Stroud at 8, Matt Stafford and Kyler Murray at 7 and 6, respectively. Brock Purdy cracks the top 5. Mahomes, Allen, and Prescott 4, 3, and 2, and Lamar tops the list at number 1.
Love it. That's good. That gives you a very, very full scope of what to expect coming up.
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, going into the playoffs, that is of the utmost importance. Do you have one of the top guys at the most important position?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. All right, guys. Game of the week time. So we got the Buffalo Bills traveling down to Miami to face the Dolphins. Is this 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
This is the night game. This is the last game of the regular season to decide the AFC East. What a great way.
What a way to cap it off.
What a great way to cap it off. Let's go and start with the visiting but favored Buffalo Bills. So, to me, this has been an up and down year, but they are peaking at the right time. I know it's a different sport, but I compared them to the Nationals that year they won the World Series, right? They were like 19 and 31 at the break, right? They weren't a very good team early. They peaked at the right time down the stretch second half of the year, and I see the same qualities in Buffalo. Very similar to like the Steelers when they beat the Seahawks on that run, right?
Sure.
Wild card team snuck in, I think, as the 5 or 6 seed. At the time, there were only 6 seeds in each division, by the way. So sneaks in as a wild card team, runs the table, on the road. Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, right? They found their run game late in the year, much like Buffalo is now. So it's a very interesting matchup. I think offensively, the keys to victory. This has been the key to victory almost every time we talk about Buffalo. Protect the ball.
Yeah.
Right? if they don't turn the ball over, I think they've only lost one game this year when they don't turn the ball over, right? Mm-hmm. Josh Allen is money. He wins like 90% of his games when he doesn't turn the ball over, right? So I'd say it's a very simple recipe, and I know you could say that that's the key to victory for almost any team in any game. But specifically for Buffalo, because of what that leads to, which is almost always a win. You can't turn the ball over if you're Josh Allen. That's the key to victory there.
Yeah, the more often he is or has the ability to be special with the ball, so the more time of possession that you give Josh Allen, the more your chances of losing go down. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, he is going to make it hurt if you let him. So if you're just going to, as a defense, play and you can't get any turnovers against that Buffalo offense, you're screwed. I don't know what to tell you. You're done.
The Buffalo defense, I would prepare very similar to how I would prepare or how they prepared for Dallas. Right? That front seven was ferocious, and we know Tua off schedule isn't very good. I'm sorry.
We saw it the first time.
Yeah, he's just not very good off schedule. Is Tua on schedule with a clean pocket fantastic? Yes, he's a top 5 quarterback. By the way, he was honorable mention for the top 10 list. I think he would be 11, right? On schedule, Tua's great. It's the off schedule stuff when you get him off his spot, which we've seen Buffalo do, and they did it to Dak, and it was a throttling. It wasn't even close. I think that would be the way I would prepare. I would say front seven, this is your game, go win it. You know, if you're going to win, it's because of that front seven, and I think they're going to.
Yeah, you go get after Tua, and you go put pressure on that offense. It spells disaster for Miami.
Yeah, I would agree. And then so on the flip side, Miami, right? A team that started out really, really hot, was in the discussion for the 1 seed, has kind of fallen from grace a little bit. They're now 11-5. They very well may finish 11-6, back to a wild card team. And Miami on the road. Think about how they would match up. Now, they would luck out because they would probably, I think they would be, I guess it depends if Cleveland wins. If Cleveland wins, they would be the 5, and Miami would be the 6. Mm-hmm. If they're the 6, they go on the road to Arrowhead. They're not winning that game.
No.
Now, they're lucky if they're the 5, they would go to whoever the AFC South team is. So whether that be Houston, Indianapolis, or Jacksonville, mm-hmm. that's not a weather issue for them. Going to Kansas City would be. So they have a lot on the line here. And obviously, if they make the division, or if they win the division, they would host a playoff game. That would be huge for them as well. So this is a massive game. Obviously, that doesn't need stated a ton, but that's kind of why it's a massive game. Keys to victory. Offensively, alpha brain, right? Hope Tua's brain is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tua's upright, they win a lot of games. There's a ton of arguments against Tua. The one argument for him is, dude, if he plays, they win. Almost all the time, right? So if he's upright and healthy, they win. So hopefully he is. He got banged up a little bit against Baltimore. I think mostly got taken out. 1, because it's a blowout. 2, for precaution.
I was going to say precautionary.
Yeah, so I think he'll be fine. To what degree of fine is he? I think that's the key for them. Can Tua stay upright and stay healthy?
Yes. You obviously have the genius of the offensive plan, right?
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel is going to give you a good plan.
Absolutely.
Can you execute it?
And Tua executes it at a really, really, really high level.
Yes. I do see the importance of a home playoff game, though.
That's why it's so critical for them. It's huge.
We have to keep in mind that this is going to be a divisional game. I know what we saw earlier in the season, but a divisional game the second time around,
and it's at Miami.
Always can.
Last year they beat them at Miami.
Can always look different.
Yeah. Defensively, it'd be very easy for me to just be like, well, then get the turnovers, right?
But force turnovers.
Yeah. But I think the way that you do that, you have to stop the run first. Obviously, we've seen over the last, 3 weeks, they're averaging almost 200 yards on the ground. James Cook's been fantastic. Josh Allen running the ball has been really good. Josh Allen makes mistakes when they don't have any other options, and he has to be Superman.
Yeah.
Make him try to be Superman, right? Make him try to be Josh Allen from that Chiefs playoff game, right? That's when he turns the football over. Yeah, if they're on schedule and they're running the ball, Josh isn't going to make any mistakes, and you're screwed. Sorry, point blank.
Yeah.
Make him try to beat you.
That's the thing. That's the only knock on the Bills is when it turns to Josh Allen. When it turns to, hey, we don't. And everything else has failed. It's all you. Take it from here. And he has to do too much. And then we got into when we first started the podcast back in 2020, and Josh Allen was dropping back 70 times a game.
Yeah, he was throwing insane amounts.
So you can't do that. That's when he's going to make the mistakes. That's when he's going to get the turnovers. So if you're Miami and you're on the defensive side, you're stopping that run.
So I know that you have Miami mostly because you kind of have to. I feel like if you didn't have to, you would probably lean Bills.
I would lean Bills.
So you're obviously pulling for Miami. My score prediction, I'm going to go not high scoring, not low scoring. I'm going to go with a 28-23 Bills win.
Okay.
I think it stays somewhat close, although I think Buffalo will pull away a little bit late. Miami will get a late touchdown to kind of, they'll have to onside kick it late, but I just see Buffalo winning.
Okay, the Dolphins, 30-28.
30-28. All right, high scoring game. Love to see it. Wow, what a good show. I know the wheels kind of fell off late a little bit there, but I think we reeled it back in. What a great show.
Finished strong.
Yeah, what a way to finish the regular season podcasts. Very, very strong.
Yeah, 100%. You dealt with some adversity, showed some strength there.
Love to see it.
Very good. Guys, we appreciate it. First episode of the new year went very well. Of course, that was episode 219. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure you go check out the website. We got everything over there. Go subscribe to the social medias. Hit the notification bells on YouTube so you always get notifications on when our new episodes come out and all the new videos that we post from those episodes. We got a lot of stuff that's coming out every day over here, so make sure you're following along with the show so you don't miss any of the important stuff, especially as we get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean,
team get huge. Can't wait.
It's of the utmost importance now. Guys, when we talk again, we will be predicting the wild card round.
Can't wait.
That'll be next Thursday.
So excited.
It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Not going to want to miss it. Guys, that was the issue.